77 races, more than 2 seasons since Ryan Newman has been to victory lane. You have to go all the way back to the 2008 Daytona 500 to find his last victory. It was with a different team, but now for the first time, the number 39 car has been to a Sprint Cup Series victory lane. This was the scene of his first start, and now the scene of his first win in a long, long time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. If you ever think you know who's going to win a Sprint Cup race before the final checkered flag, don't think you do, because anything can and will happen. A very emotional Ryan Newman about to climb out here. Welcome, everybody, to Victory Lane. I'm John Roberts. He's race car driver Kenny Wallace and Kyle Petty. And a surprise tonight. You thought it was Kyle Busch's race. You thought it was Jeff Gordon's race. But guess what? Hello, Newman.
No neck Newman. He reminds me of Cale Yarborough. He's like this. No neck Newman on the restart, baby. I got 4-time champ Jeff Gordon next to me. Kyle, I couldn't believe that Jeff Gordon did not pick the inside. What's up with that?
You know, I don't know. I won't. And you hear Darrell and those guys talk about it. When you're on the inside, you've got another car and 4 whole tires between you and the wall. Go down and run the guy high. And it's, hey, Rubbin's racing this year. That's what they've said. But you know what amazes me? 2 weeks in a row, Jeff Gordon loses green, white, checkered. Okay? And I think when you look at this and you look at what Newman beat him on the restart. The race was won when they dropped the green flag on the green, white, checkered. Newman got a great restart and just took the line.
And Kyle Busch had an opportunity for a weekend sweep, winning both the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup Series race. In the Nationwide race, he took advantage of a late race caution to win. Tonight, the tables were turned.
And we are so lucky here in NASCAR Victory Lane. You know what? Kyle Busch's mother was just here. Look at Tony Stewart.
Yeah, the proud owner.
Hey,
cool.
This is the first win for the 39.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kyle Busch's mother just come over here. Kyle, you said, how are you doing? She goes, well, I'm mad now.
That's not what she said. She said,
yeah,
I'm peed. You know what I mean.
She said, my son Kyle Busch had a 4-second lead and lost the race. Race fans, this new rule is for you. I mean, some people took 2 tires, some people took 4, but what a race.
You asked for it and you got it, and you never know who's going to come out on top after this. It was a series of strategy moves by these crew chiefs, 4 tires or 2. The top 4 drivers decided to go with 2 tires apiece, and then they were able to pull it out for the number 39 team. Let's take a look at the final closing moments of this. That is Scott Riggs in the 90 this week, brings out the late race caution after, by the way, having a very good run. And here was the choice. Here was the decision. The 48 went for 4. 2014 went for 2 tires. A couple of races ago, the tables were turned and Jimmy Johnson was able to win. It cost Jeff Gordon. 2 tires was the call. Crew chief Steve Letarte stuck by his decision. And there's the heartbreak once again for Kyle Busch.
And watch this pit crew. And we switched away, but the pit crew just goes, they knew they were beat right there.
And you know what? Look at the inside. Look at Jimmy Johnson. He's 3 wide. He finishes 3rd in this race, but 2 tires was the right call as they come to the checkered flag.
Jeff Gordon was the leader, and by NASCAR rules, here comes Ryan Newman.
He's looking more and more like his father the older he gets.
But, aren't we all? But the choice was up to Jeff Gordon as the leader. He had the opportunity to pick the inside lane or the outside lane on the final restart. And Kenny Wallace, you think his decision may have cost him?
I don't like to be critical, but I'm a NASCAR Nationwide racer. I was in the race last night. The bottom line was the grippy corner. But listen, he's a 4-time champion. Jeff Gordon knew something that we all didn't know. But here's what happens. Let's watch. There's grip on the bottom. There's just automatic grip on the bottom. It stunned me that Jeff Gordon took the outside.
And for a guy who is used to winning races, a lot of races, it's been a long time for Ryan Newman. You can just about bet he was not going to be denied this thing under any circumstances, seeing that checkered flag in his sights.
Kyle, I think this is big for Stewart Haas Racing because this is his first win.
This is huge for Stewart Haas Racing. Here's a team, their sophomore year, and their number 2 car is already winning races. We talked about Tony stepping up last year as a leader. And I think this is another example sitting in victory lane, you see right here on the monitor, of Tony Stewart's leadership, assembling this team and putting this team together. So much is said about Tony Stewart as a driver, but I think you got to give Tony Stewart kudos for being the leader and the leader of this team and putting together this group and having faith in Ryan Newman. And Ryan just had crap luck last year, let's be honest. He's had some crap luck this year too, let's be honest. But to come out and have this team and make that call, incredible.
And Tony said it every time he won last year. He said, what we got to do now is get that 39 in victory lane, so it's a whole team effort. Well, Tony, you got it done, man. 39's in victory lane, and we'll talk to the elated driver in just a moment. Highlights coming your way on NASCAR Victory Lane.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. And brought to you in part by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles. Now at your local dealer.
Welcome back to Phoenix, everyone. Fireworks in the sky and a little fireworks on the racetrack as we are here in NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco on speed. The 39 car is victorious for Stewart-Haas Racing, and there was a lot of decisions to be made because this was really the tale of two races today, one that started in the sunshine and one that ended under the lights 600 kilometers later. Let's take you back to the beginning of the race, and this, of course, with the sun high above us in the Valley of the Sun at the Phoenix International Raceway, and you will see how things will change. A.J. Allmendinger in the famous 43 led us to the green flag for the first time in his career.
I'm very, very impressed with the start of this race. A.J. Allmendinger, Sam Hornish, Scott Speed, they do a great job, and they go out, and Kyle Petty, they pulled a half a straightaway on the field and kept their cars straight all night long.
Everybody talks so much about qualifying, how qualifying had kind of favored some of the guys that went out, and you're going to see this big mix-up at the beginning of the race. You didn't see that. These guys just drove off and left everybody.
Now, before this race, Hendrick Motorsports had won 5 of the last 6 races, and 4 out of the last 5 have been won by Jimmy Johnson before tonight, and you can almost credit this one to Hendrick Motorsports as well, but the team runs really well here, and here is evidence.
Yeah, and this is very impressive. 3 Hendrick cars. Look at there, Junior gets a little sideways. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. He says, I'm going to peek on the inside of you, Junior, because you're loose. And looky here. Here we got the leader, A.J. Allmendinger, Sam Hornish. I want to point out that Marcus Ambrose finishes 11th. A.J. Allmendinger ends up 15th. So these two guys did a good job.
Let's take a look at one of the first cautions here with the 2 and the 9, Kurt Busch and Casey Kane. And Casey gets the worst end of this one.
Well, we've seen this. Me and Kyle are watching the race in the TV compound, and the 2 car just simply gets in too hard, gets loose, and takes out Casey Kane. Here we go, Kyle.
Yeah, you see him. He gets down in the corner, and he's loose right there. He's chasing it up the bank. You see that a lot of times, and especially at a place like this, where you're on the brakes so hard, if you got too much rear brake or you got a little out of balance as he goes down in the car. And this is the interesting part. This is Denny Hamlin in the 11th car. You see the 2 drive back across, and boom, hits him right in the right side. At that time, I thought Denny might get out of the car because it absolutely just opened the side of that car up.
And Denny is nursing that sore knee, of course, from the ACL surgery, so he's a very interesting thing to keep an eye on throughout this race. There goes Jamie McMurray.
Well, Jamie McMurray, Daytona 500 champion, gets hit by Clint Boyer. Now, Clint Boyer almost takes out his own teammate when Jamie McMurray goes up into Kevin Harvick. And wow, look at this. Yeah. Not even a scratch on the car. Here's another look.
Another look from inside Denny Hamlin's car. So
is
here's a guy with a hurt leg, and he's dodged 2 accidents right off the bat.
So once again, Denny Hamlin gets by there. Take a look at the battle for the lead. A lot of people earlier today, especially on NASCAR race day, were picking Tony Stewart as a winner of this race.
Tony looked like he was on the cushion at Eldora, riding high, not afraid to die. But look, Juan Pablo's too strong. Here he comes a lap later.
Yeah, take a good look at Smoke here, because this is going to be the last time you see him for the rest of the day. He was the best car, one of the best cars, when the sun was out. And it's amazing how the tale of 2 teams. One runs good when the sun's out, one wins a race when the sun goes down.
Hey, a little joke here. We just seen Tony Stewart in Victor Lane, but it was for his teammate. Sorry about that sarcasm, but the 2 car has a right front flat. Now he runs around the middle of the racetrack to try to get a debris caution. Finally does a lap later.
Yeah, and at this point in time, the reason NASCAR waited, I truly believe, so long to throw the caution is they were in the middle of a green flag pit cycle, and they were going to catch people in a bad situation there.
Here are the famous restarts. We talked about this. What do you call it? The most wrecking restart track anywhere.
This is an exciting racetrack. This is the wreckingest restart racetrack I've ever seen. We have footage to prove it, but they did a good job tonight here in the Sprint Cup Series.
And that is one of the few times, we talked about taking the inside line or taking the outside line. Most of the time, the pole winner or the lead car had taken the outside line. 48 car was the inside line. He was second place, but he drove away from him, and that's the first time we saw that tonight.
And if you're monitoring the progression of Joey Logano, he finished 10th in this race tonight, and also ran up front for a lot of the time. About a halfway point, here comes the pit stops for Jimmy Johnson and company, and they, of course, this time opted for 4 tires.
You know, you never know what kind of paint job you're going to get with this Lowe's Chevrolet. Here we go. This is a normal paint job with Juan Pablo Montoya from Bogota, Colombia, taking, looks like 4 tires here as they head around to the left side. So pit stops, and everybody trying to beat everybody out of the pits.
Now, they told us earlier today that we may be making too much on TV about the road course racers doing good, or doing well, rather, at this racetrack. But there's another one of those great road course drivers, open wheel guy. A lot of them started well today and finished well today. Juan Pablo Montoya spent a lot of time at the front of the pack.
You know, Juan has adjusted so well to oval track racing, but when you take a place like this, that's a little bit, it's got its quirks. Okay, let's just call it that. It's not your normal oval, and it's not your normal circle track. He just shines at places like this, and he has from the very beginning.
A 5th place finish for Juan Pablo Montoya. When we come back to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, we will show you how the end of this race shook out and who made the right call and when they made it. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, where the number 39 car has made its first trip to Victory Lane, a place that Ryan Newman has been before, and but it's been a long time for Newman. 77 races between now and his last victory. When we left you, it looked like it might be one of those Hendrick Motorsports types of days here, as Jimmy Johnson was back again. Let's remember that he has won 4 of the last 5 before tonight, and it looked like he was going to pull away at the halfway point of the race.
You know, and let's look at the win. Okay, this was a restart, and the outside was better. But this was 4 tires to 4 tires. In other words, all these guys got 4 tires on. So here's Jimmy Johnson. He was the class of the field, but yet the 18 of Kyle Busch was tough also.
And Kyle, BK12 in the 12 car, Brad Keselowski makes it 3 wide. Doesn't usually work here.
Yeah, you know, he made it 3 wide, and I think really they just got to the corner so quick that if you see it from another angle, the 56 car and the 12 just got together, and I think the 56 car, when he hit the brakes, he just got into him a little bit.
It shouldn't make you wonder in any way, shape, or form why Jimmy Johnson's leading at this racetrack. But how about Kyle Busch? Been 18 races, now 19 since KB has been to Victory Lane, and he decides he's going to get out and lead a few laps.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, these guys are giving you race fans what you want. They are racing like this is a 25-lap feature. Now, this is what impresses me about Jimmy Johnson. Look how hard he comes back on the outside. Boy, you get him in the outside lane, and he goes.
But, you know, I want you, here's the funny part. As you watch this, you see how it's gotten darker and darker as the day as we've gone into the evening. When it was daylight and dusk, the 48 and the 42 here, and you see them kind of banging on each other. Look at that. That's a tough hit right there.
What?
That's a tough hit right there. That is. Kenny and I were watching this in the trailer. I thought the 48 had a flat left rear and that the 42 had a flat right front. But this is where the tide changed, and it changed in favor of the 18 at that point in time in the race.
Trouble for the 34.
Well, you know, this is a blown motor, and this was a big blown motor. I mean, it created fire going into turn 1. So this is a worrisome situation for this car because he's on the border of falling out of the top 35 in the points. Green flag, here we go.
Another one of the famous restarts here at Phoenix, and once again it is clean, but look at these 2 guys battling for the front, 2 of the best in the business in Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
And look at this, 3 wide, the best in the United States. Once again, the outside lane wins out. So, you know, this was their pattern all night long, and in the very end, we'll see later what wins the race.
When you talk about a couple of drivers that are very hungry for victories, all you got to do is go to the front of the pack here and watch the 33 of Clint Boyer and Jeff Gordon go into town. Got to go all the way back to Texas a year ago to find the last time that Jeff Gordon won.
Jeff Gordon wiggled a little bit off the previous corner off at turn 2. It allowed Clint Boyer to get to the inside of him. Jeff Gordon said, look, you shouldn't be on the inside because I messed up, and Jeff Gordon gets the spot back.
And Kyle Petty, when you talk about another driver hungry for a win right now, Kyle Busch is that driver.
Kyle Busch is doing everything he can to win races and doing everything right. The cards are just not falling for him. They fell for him last night, just as the cautions fell, and he was able to just drive away. But this here he is, right in front of him as he goes into turn 3. Boom. The right front goes flat on the 90. Nothing Scott Riggs could do. He gets up into the wall, and here's the caution that was the demise of the 18 car.
As the caution flag giveth, it can taketh away as well. That was Scott Riggs in that car that's normally driven by Casey Mears. And here came the choice, 2 tires or 4 tires. Jeff Gordon and company wanted to get out first, and they did just that with the 2-tire stop. It looked like it was going to pay off.
Yeah, and you got to say, gutsy call by Letarte. I don't care, because he got burned on 2 tires at Vegas. And this team that we're watching right here, the 48, kicked their butt at Vegas with the 4 tires. Here, there's less laps in the race. Obviously, it's a green-white checkered, and these guys are counting on being 1 green-white checkered.
So here comes the decision on the restart. Do I go for the high side or the low side? Jeff Gordon, as the leader, chose the high side, and Ryan Newman took advantage of a great restart.
And you know what? As we just seen and we explained to you, the outside won all night long, but everybody was being polite. Now it's showtime. The inside is the place to be, because you can run up and bang into your competitor because the win is on the line, and that's what happens.
So that's exactly what Ryan Newman was able to do after a 77 race absence from victory lane. He came around to take the checkered flags, actually the white flag right there. Next time around is going to be the checkers, but there's going to be no denying Ryan Newman as he gets his first victory of the season. First victory in the number 39 car for Stewart Haas Racing, and there's a happy team right now. They got car number 2 into P number 1, and there'll be some celebrating going on in the Stewart Haas camp.
What was cool about that on victory lane, that was the 14 team and the 39 team and celebrating. That's a team effort.
And Tony Stewart is always one to preach teamwork. Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and how about Mark Martin battling all night long, coming back for a top 5 finish, as well as Juan Pablo.
I got to tell you something. I'm sitting here looking at this finish. Kyle Busch, oh my gosh. I mean, that's distraught, race fan. That's what these double file restarts do to you.
Great job by Marcus Ambrose in the 47. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes home in the 12th spot. And how about Robbie Gordon?
Robbie Gordon, you got to give Robbie Gordon a shout out. We talked about it in the pre-race. He's changed everything but the kitchen sink trying to get better, and it paid off for him here. He's had such rotten luck. Hopefully that'll get him back in the top 35. Those guys are working.
And Sam Hornish, good job, Sam. You've been wrecking a lot lately, and you recovered. That was a great recovery tonight.
Who would have thought that Jeff Burton at this track would run P25? I didn't see it coming.
Not me. I picked him to win the darn thing.
And I think he had a little trouble there at some point in time and got a lap down, and that's part of it. But Biffle was a little bit of a disappointment to me tonight, because I really thought Biff was going to come from the back to the front.
Kind of a tough run for Elliott Sadler. This was his 400th Sprint Cup Series start, and that's a heck of a milestone. Congratulations to Elliott for that. And then Kevin Conway, Terry Cook, Kurt Busch just all together had a bad night.
The 43 of A.J. Allmendinger, he was the best car for Richard Petty Motorsports, finishing in 15th. These are starting park cars here, so they made their money and they're going home.
Let's take a look at the points after this 7th race of the season, and Jimmy Johnson is on top.
Well, here we are.
Yep.
They're starting to shake out now, Kyle. We're seeing big gaps.
We're seeing big gaps. And, you know, we saw the 98 in the top 10 for a while, top 12. Now he's kind of dropped out. Joey Logano has just been consistent. And here, we said this in pre-race. You know, you look at the 48 car leading the points right there. He's run consistent, but he's got those wins under his belt. Kevin Harvick has run consistent. He doesn't have the wins. He's dropped down. Matt Kenseth has run consistent. It's going to take winning races to break out of this pack and pull yourself from 8th or 9th up.
Now, when you have a 4-second lead late in the race and you fail to win that race, it's got to be heartbreaking. Kyle Busch didn't want to talk after the race, so we were able to get Bob Dillner up with crew chief Dave Rogers to get the 18 team's perspective on what this technical loss meant.
Definitely a tough finish for the 18 team. Crew chief Dave Rogers here. Dave, I heard Kyle come on the radio and say, it's always a show instead of a race. A lot of frustration, I'm sure, for driver in this entire camp after this one and what played out in the final few laps.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, real proud of this 18 M&M's car. This Toyota Camry is real fast today, and the guys have been working really hard. You know, if you look at the 18's program, you could argue the flat track has been the weak spot. In the last 2 weeks, we've run up front, and we've given them both away with a late race call. What Kyle was saying with the show versus the racing, you know, I think that we did have the best race car. You know, we were 1 lap short of leading the most laps, so us in the 48 had the field covered this week, but the game came when they started gambling. 4 tires is definitely better to have a better race car, but enough cars took that 2-tire gamble that didn't pay off last night in the nationwide race. It just held us back, so the gamble paid off.
Monday morning quarterback is really easy to play, but in hindsight, would you do it differently?
You know, we always look at the program and ask, you know, how could we improve? And I knew the 24 was going to take 2, and I knew 39 was going to take 2, and I knew the 48 was going to take 4. You know, you're scanning, but I can't scan everybody, so I had a real limited data. The only thing we can do is to maybe watch pit road better and see how many are taking with 2 and then calling the audible last minute. If you see 5, 6 are going to make that call, but when you commit, it's tough. Am I going to Monday morning quarterback me? No, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that'll do that for me.
Definitely a tough outcome for the 18 team, but Kyle did say it's a lot easier to do what he did last night in a nationwide car than do it in a cup car tonight.
Yeah, Bob, the caution flag giveth, the caution flag taketh away. In Kyle Busch's case, it was very kind to him last night, not kind tonight.
No, not really. And, you know, a lot of people are going to criticize Kyle because he didn't want to talk to the press. Do not criticize Kyle Busch. He drove the wheels off that car. You saw Dave standing there. Look, Kyle's not disappointed or not mad at anybody. He's heartbroken. And when you're heartbroken, you don't want to talk to anybody, man. And that's how simple it is. It's not anything else. These guys are so crushed and so disappointed because they had that race in their grasp and they know they can win races. So being heartbroken and being pissed off are two entirely different things. And Kyle Busch deserves some time on his own.
And race fans, let me teach you something that's going on inside of NASCAR. We are in a new era. What I mean is that the guys that are leading the races don't win anymore. You look at Jeff Gordon at Vegas, gone. Caution comes out. He gets beat because of a decision. Double foul restarts. You can be running 8th, and now all of a sudden you start 4th row outside. We are in a new era, meaning that with 3 attempts at a finish, double foul restarts, we aren't going to see anybody really dominate anymore. And some of the wins by Jimmy Johnson earlier were favors. He was in the right lane and things of that. We're in a new era.
So if you're watching a race or if you're at the actual racetrack itself, don't leave until it's over because you never know what's going to happen. Ryan Newman's getting wired up. He's going to come over here and talk to us in just a minute on NASCAR Victory Lane. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco here at the Phoenix International Raceway, where Ryan Newman has made a triumphant return to Victory Lane. Now, Ryan, when you are used to winning races like you did, for a while, you're kicking everybody's butt. A 77 race absence for Victory Lane had to have seemed like eternity.
Yes, it did, and it is such a long time. And we had been close multiple times, both with Penske Racing and here at Stewart-Haas. But man, it's a great feeling tonight. I'm glad of all times that they extended a race to 63 laps because it took me till then to get to the lead.
Ryan, on the restart, Jeff Gordon's, he picked the outside lane. Did you say to yourself, I'm going to do what it takes. I'll use him up if I have to. What was going through your mind on this restart right here?
Well, I felt like I was better off not using him up because, you know, those guys are going to be breathing down my back, and, you know, it wasn't going to take a whole lot for somebody to sneak underneath me if I ran him up, you know, similar to what the restart was there at Martinsville. So it was a great run for our Tornado Chevrolet, and I got to thank Tony Gibson and Tony Stewart and Gene Haas for the opportunity. And, man, those last laps, I looked up, I seen the white flag. I'm like, wow.
That was good.
It hadn't even registered yet. And I'm like, oh, I got one to go, and I got a little free up there in 3 and 4, but on the last lap. But I gassed it. If it was going to bounce off the wall, I was coming through.
Congratulations. We sat here and we talk about it. We talk about it in pre-race. Kenny was in the nationwide race, so he understands the racetrack. But you know, how much did the racetrack change from the time we started the race? Now this race was 63 laps longer. How much did it change during the course of the race? Because there were times you cut through the pack like butter, and there were times that you just seemed to maintain.
It felt really like the track picked up the most grip on forward drive on the forward bite, as we call it. But you know, that to me allowed us to free the car up so we can roll the center a little bit better, and that's where I think we made our gains personally with our team. It's all on where you start. I felt like we missed the entire race at the start of the race, and the track changed enough, picked up enough speed that I think our car traveled some more, and it made it more ideal. So it was right place, right time at the end. That's all you got to be. Yeah.
Ryan, you're a winning race car driver. You proved it all. You've won the Daytona 500. But now, with this new team, you get to take your first trophy and put it in the showroom. What's that feel like?
It's awesome. I mean, for Gene Haas and for all these guys, I mean, some of these guys have never had a Cup victory before. You know, Tony Stewart experienced that with his group back at the All-Star race last year, and now for these guys, you know, it's awesome for our shop, and it's really awesome for our team to have the start of the season that we had, you know, have a good top 5 finish at Martinsville, and then 2 weeks later, you know, after a weekend off, to take that momentum as we did and you know, spin it into a victory. That's what we needed.
Hey, what is this Tornadoes? I mean, what kind of food is it?
Tornadoes. It's really hard to describe it. It's a
whirlwind of flavor.
It's like a tortilla crust, and they mix a bunch of different kinds of foods inside it. So you can have breakfast tornadoes with eggs and bacon and cheese in it. You can have dessert tornadoes with apples and cinnamon. You deep fry them; those are really good.
And they go good with Coke.
They go good with Coke. And, they got cheesy pepper jack. I mean, they got a bunch of different flavors.
And they got their money's worth tonight.
I want to ask you one question, and because I thought one of the coolest things, you take the checkered flag, and boom, the camera goes to pit road, and it's your team and Tony's team celebrating on pit road. How big a team, how much of a team effort is this?
It's a very big effort, and Hendrick Motorsports gets credit as well. I mean, they got to thank them for all the things that they do, the support that they give our team, and you know, for Tony Stewart and Gene Haas to give me this opportunity, it's really awesome. And those guys, they are one team, and I've always said it, this is the toughest sport in the world to have teams that are fighting for the same position and fighting against each other, but also for each other. And you have to swallow your ego so many times that it's tough for us guys to do. I mean, it is. So you got to thank everybody at Stewart Haas Racing for giving me this opportunity.
Hey, Ryan, one of the things that Tony said when he went into ownership of a team is he said, you know, the great owners aren't going to be around forever. Unfortunately, we can't clone Rick Hendrick or Richard Childress. Do you feel like you're part of something that really is going to be the future of NASCAR racing?
I don't know about that. I mean, that's kind of a tough question to answer. I don't know where Tony's ultimate goal and realistic, you know, dreams are when it comes to ownership and where he wants it to grow. I don't know that. I mean, I know that there is talk, like we've always said, for more teams within Stewart Haas, but you know, I think that you know, I'm extremely happy with what we've got right now, and you know, we'll consider those things as he considers them when he lays in bed at night and can't sleep. He'll figure out what he wants to do.
Hey, Ryan, it's a tradition here on Victory Lane that we got you to sign the Sunoco flag and we give it away to a lucky fan. So I want to congratulate you on the victory once again. Great job by Ryan Newman, the number 39 team to win. And each week here on NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, one lucky fan will receive a checkered flag autographed by the winner of the race. And this time it's Ryan Newman. Good job.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. There is your winning race car going through post-race tech. And, you know, there's an old adage in sports that people try to say, nice guys finish last. Well, we're going to disprove that statement right now because one of the nicest guys in the business, crew chief Tony Gibson, is celebrating his first place finish.
Yes.
Tony, great job. There's been so much hard work on your part and everybody else's part at Stewart Haas Racing. This must just be a great feeling.
It is. It's unbelievable. I just talked to my wife on the phone, and I told her the other day, I've been wanting to buy this Razor. You know, we go four-wheeling and camping all the time, so I asked her if I could buy one. She goes, as soon as you win a race, you can buy one. So I told her when we were camping last week, I said, I'm going to win one pretty soon. I'm going to get that thing. So I just called her on the phone and told her I'm going to order it on Monday.
All the small victories.
Yeah, but it means a lot to me and my family. You know, my mom and dad, you know, my dad's been in racing all his life, and you know, to go through, my dad had 2 jobs, and my brothers raced, and to go through that and get to where I'm at today. I mean, I've won championships before and a lot of races, but to win one as a crew chief is pretty amazing.
That's a little bit of an understatement. My brothers raced. Your brothers were great racers. Okay,
yeah,
so let's be real clear about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know, but how tough of a call was it coming down pit road, seeing those cars coming down? And you know, some of them are going to take 4, some of them are going to take 2. You got to make the call for that 39 car, but trying to outguess the other guys too being in that position.
Yeah, it was really tough because I watched the nationwide race the night before, and I saw guys that took on 2, you know, with a little bit more laps to go in the end, and they struggled. So I said, man, I didn't want this to happen, but I told him, you know, we'd struggled. He said, it's your call, and I said, all right, let's just do 2. We were coming down pit road. I said, guys, let's just do 2. The way I figured is, me and Newman talked a couple weeks ago, and I said, man, I hope it don't ever come to a situation where I got to put you out there on old tires. And he said, man, you're talking to a guy that's best on 2 tires, because him and Bolin did it, you know, in years past, and won a lot of races with just 2 tires or none. So I said, all right. And that's the first thing I thought about coming down pit road. Goes, here I am. I'm gonna put him in this position. But he told me, you know, he'll back me in all my decisions, and it worked out for us tonight.
Tony Gibson, let's make this perfectly clear to all of America, if not the world. This is your very first win as a Cup crew chief.
Yes.
What does it feel like? Are we going to Disney World?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He might already be there.
Yeah. And like I said, I want to say hey to my wife and my daughter Lainey. I love you guys a lot, and wish you were here. My mom and dad, my brother Pepe, and my brother Mark, and my whole family. I wish they could be here, but they weren't. But I know they were in spirit with me, so it's great. It's awesome. Thanks for the opportunity. Sprint Chevrolet does a great job. They support us heavily, and I can't say enough for Tornadoes. Those guys are unbelievable. You can see how happy they are back there. New color schemes. They wanted to brighten things up, and that worked out good. U.S. Army, Haas Automation, everybody back at the shop. You know, we've been through a lot this year. We've been struggling in the points, and we've had some bad things happen. So it's really nice to had a nice top 5 finish last week. Come in here and win one is awesome. So hopefully this is a little building block, and we got the first win out of the way, and we can win some more.
Hey, Tony, you've accomplished a lot of great things in Cup racing, but you've also worked for some great teams. How does this Stewart Haas organization stack up with some of the other great teams you've worked for?
This is probably the best. You know, I've worked for Hendricks for many years, and DEI for many years. You know, I work for Alan Kowicki, and I've been fortunate enough to be with good teams. Somebody asked me last year, how do you feel that you've been so successful? The reason why is I was with good teams. I've won championships with 2 different organizations, and one thing that I want to do before I get out of this sport is I want to win a championship with 3 different organizations. If I can do that, then I've completed everything I wanted to do. So I've won my race as a crew chief, and I just want to win that championship for the 3rd different owner, and I'll be happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's not setting the bar too high.
No, not setting it too high. Hey, why not? Why not shoot for the stars?
That's not too. But I want to go back a couple of years when you were with DEI. Every time Mark Martin got out of a car, he said, "I just want to win one for Tony.
Yeah.
I just want to win for." And you guys were this close.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah.
And especially at this place. So this is a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, it was. It was. I actually talked to Mark on Friday, during practice, and we talked a little bit, and I asked him. I said, "How good's your car?" He said, "It's not quite as good as that one we had here a couple years ago." And I said, "Well, mine's not that good either." So we talked about that, but that was a hard to take right there. Lead that many laps and be that strong and not win it. But it happens a lot. The 18 car was probably the best car tonight, but lots of times the best car doesn't win. So I'm just proud of everybody. We had a solid car tonight. I think we had a top 5 car tonight. We ran solidly in the top 8 to top 5. So I feel like we didn't steal this. We did a good job all night, and I'll take it.
One question: who's better at Pictionary, you and Eric or Janice?
Oh, no, me and Eric. Yeah. I see that.
No, sorry, I had to throw that in. Go ahead.
Kyle, you just want to race here? You want to talk about Pictionary?
That's inside.
It's a joke, which he knows. I mean,
that's inside.
Okay. Well,
I was trying to get him to bail me out of trouble. So.
Let's go back outside again. Tony, Congratulations. Great job. It's great to see you in here, and it's proof that nice guys can finish first in competitive sports. When we come back, we're going to hear from Denny Hamlin about how his day went and how he's a little bit sore after that. And you want to have a piece of $1 million if you're a Legends car driver, you can get it July 14th through 17th at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just go to the website and find out how you can be involved in $1 million purse. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. We're in the Phoenix International Raceway Victory Lane, where Ryan Newman has just snapped a 77-race winless streak. But there were so many other storylines to follow here, and one of those being Denny Hamlin. Of course, he underwent one of the most famous ACL surgeries anywhere, anytime, a couple of weeks ago to repair his knee. He braved it out today and finished the race, didn't have to go to his backup driver. So let's go back to Bob Dillner.
Denny Hamlin certainly an Iron Man in this race. You did it. You went the entire distance, but how are you feeling right now, Denny?
I felt better for sure. I mean, it feels like it did right out of the surgery room, but there's nothing we can do about it. I felt like it was important to finish the race today, and 2 laps down is not how we indicative of how we should have finished, but we just lost positions right there trying to change that battery.
Did you ever think about getting out?
Yeah, I mean, once we lost those 2 laps on pit road, I knew that there was no sense in me going further, other than just trying to get the morale of the guys, knowing that I was going to do everything I could to keep us a unified team. And they would do, I'm sure any of them would give their left leg for me, and I was willing to give mine to them.
I'm really pleasantly surprised that you made it. What do you think about Texas, Denny?
I think it'll be better. I think another 5 days of rehab will be better. We don't use as much brake there. This track is, I had no idea we really use that much brake at this racetrack until you have a problem physically. So now I'm just going to continue to do the things that they say do, and we'll go to Texas and hopefully be more competitive.
Rest up.
Thank you.
I would say everybody in NASCAR is stunned right now. We were thoroughly convinced that Denny was going to get out of the car, especially when the car went 2 laps down due to battery problems. It's one of those situations like, why would he stay in it? He's already a winning race car driver. He won 2 weeks ago in Martinsville. But he explains it right there. He felt like he needed to stay in the car to keep team morale built up. It's hard to go inside anybody's head. Sometimes we're very critical and we state our opinion. He said right there he had to stay in the car to build team around. He's going to do rehab, and he thinks he's going to be better.
And Denny Hamlin is a competitor. He has made the Sprint Cup chase for the championship every year he has competed at this level. Got to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment in Victory Lane, but also we want to remind you that if you're ready to discover NASCAR Nation's next great superstar, we're introducing Fast Track to Fame. Join host Michael Waltrip and Carissa Thompson as America's most unique performers cut loose each week and compete for their chance to become a star. Been a long time coming for Ryan Newman. 77 races without a win. They were very close with Penske Motorsports, and now he is here with Stewart-Haas Motorsports. So congratulations once again to Ryan Newman and company. The car he had to hold off was one of the best in the business, the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Once again, in a green-white checkered finish, Jeff Gordon came out on the somewhat losing end of the stick with a second-place finish. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
All right, lots of gambling going on at the end of this race, and Jeff Gordon, you made the gamble, but I thought you might be in the catbird seat. Man, did Ryan Newman surprise you there on that restart?
Well, Steve Letarte made the gamble, and it was a good one. He made a great call, and then I messed it up because I didn't get a good restart. I started to go. I felt like I made the right, had the timing right, but I just gave a little bit too much gas, spun the tires, and Ryan got a great restart. He really jumped ahead of me at the right time, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do. I tried to make a couple runs on him. My car was real good in 3 and 4. He slid up, and I could get there, but I couldn't quite get underneath him. And, we had to settle for second, unfortunately.
Top 5 at Martinsville, a top 5 here next weekend. A big telltale sign of maybe how the rest of the season's going to go. Things progressing in the right direction now, or will next week tell that sign?
Things are going really well for our DuPont Chevrolet team. I feel like we're putting ourselves in position to win, and we're getting better as the races go on. That's what I like. In the past, I feel like once we lost the handling on the car, it seems like we never could get it back. We're getting it back. We're gaining on it. We're moving up through the field towards the end of the race, and then the pit crew's knocking down those pit stops at the right time, and Steve's making great calls. If the driver could just get his act together, we'll win some races, and I think we're going to do that here pretty soon.
Remember, the driver did do a good job at Texas last year because he was the winner there in the Lone Star State last year.
Yeah, I think you look at Jeff's season this year. We're 7 races into the season. He's been in a position to win 2 or 3 races this year. They weren't in a position like this last year. So you got to say that team and that organization has made a big step up. Jeff's made a big step up. Jeff's made a big commitment to coming out here and winning races. He's a top 2, top 3, top 4 car week in and week out. But I think we've heard Steve Letarte and those guys say it. We can't just set on that top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever it is. We've got to win races, and at least they're putting themselves in a position. And oh, what a difference a week makes. Last week, it's a green-white checkered, and he blames everybody at the racetrack for what happened. He got knocked out of the way. He wasn't going to let this car win, whatever. This week, he steps up and says, my bad. I messed up. I'm going to get better. I don't think we'll see this again. Next time there's a green-white checkered, put your money on it if it's at Vegas, because Jeff Gordon's going to win the next green-white checkered that he's a part of.
I almost had something to say, but I'm going to elaborate on what he said. Jeff Gordon reminds me of Rusty Wallace, my brother. Every time you back him in the corner, every time you try to chokehold him, they come out. And I believe Kyle Petty is right. I think put your money on Jeff Gordon from here on out, and I'll tell you why. He's had enough, all right? He's lost 2 races in a row on these restarts, and All you can ask for is to be in a position to win. He's been in a position to win at Vegas, Martinsville, Phoenix. I mean, Jeff Gordon is a 4-time champion for a reason, and he's shown it.
And second place finisher tonight after a wild one here at the Phoenix International Raceway. And Monday nights on Speed, well, they're somewhat wild as well. Speed Primetime is packed with NASCAR fun with NASCAR Race Up presented by Hooters at 7:30 and Fast Track to Fame at 8. The Racing Chef comes to you at 9 p.m., followed by the Sounds of NASCAR at 9:30. NASCAR in a Hurry at 10, and then Senior Excitement, Jimmy Spencer at 10:30. It all begins Monday, 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Back to Victory Lane in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car.
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. A beautiful sight, the Phoenix International Raceway at night. It's also a beautiful sight in the day as well. And we saw a fantastic finish that put Ryan Newman back into Victory Lane, but so many other storylines to follow. And one of those is the top 35 in owner points. If you're in the top 35, you're in the race. If you're outside looking in, you have a heck of a weekend in front of you. And as of right now, Kyle Petty, Robbie Gordon is back in. He's going to go to Texas breathing a sigh of relief.
And congratulations to that whole group. He put together a group to come out here specifically to assault the top 35, and they did what they needed to do.
Holy guacamole, because the 34 Travis Kvapil, he caused the second to the last caution. Travis Kvapil's blown motor puts Robbie Gordon 35th in the points. Good job.
So that's a very important thing to look at, because those guys chasing after sponsorship can guarantee somebody they're going to be in the race, and also it changes your whole outlook on a race weekend. But let's talk about the new spoiler. We saw it on a half-mile racetrack, then we took it to a mile racetrack. Now we're going to the place, Texas, where, Kenny, it's really going to be put to the test.
I think it was great strategery by NASCAR. We were just sitting here, me and Kyle, and I said, Kyle, they went to a half mile. You know, they eased into it at Martinsville. Now a little more speed here, like 130, 40 mile an hour. Kyle, now we're going to go to 2:10, as old Jay Keller used to say. They're going to be running 210 mile an hour getting in turn one. It's going to be the ultimate test, I believe.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great test for it, because you went to the half mile, flat mile. Now we're going to a banked, high speed racetrack like Texas. And you look at Texas, and they did Texas, you know, they tested it at Charlotte. So Charlotte test should correlate to Texas. But we're going to see how the spoiler really is effective and how it really unbalances or balances these cars and who rises to the top when we get there.
I will say this, though. You fans got what you asked for. The wing is gone. There's an old song, ding dong, the wing is dead. The wicked wing of NASCAR is gone, baby.
You have been singing all day. You are the man.
I'm a singer.
Yeah,
I sing
it was
for a living.
interesting. It was interesting to hear what Jeff Burton had to say after that Charlotte test. He said, you know, the wing is gone and the spoiler's back there, but there's so many different variations on this car that by the seat of the pants for a driver, they aren't seeing much difference. So we shall see when we go out to Texas. But as of right now, it is Ryan Newman celebrating in Victory Lane at Phoenix. He is back after a 77 race absence, and you better believe this team is going to have some momentum on their side going into a long stretch of racing throughout the rest of the season. Let's now take a look in the rearview mirror.
Let's go racing, boys!
This could be very embarrassing, you know.
I know it could be.
In Arizona, you would think.
What goes on when the sun goes down?
Looks to the inside, slides up off the corner, held